Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It's a little bit windy today. Please bear with me. I hope that this microphone will do a good job at recording audio. So one of you guys suggested that I show some pictures of like scenic stuff and whatever stuff from living the van life. I decided to make a whole video of it and just like show you guys a bunch of pictures and tell some stories. These are gonna be kind of random. They're not all gonna be like scenic. I have some like really cursed stories to tell you guys. So this is my cat's very first time outside. They were indoor cats back when we lived in an apartment, and then we took off in the RV, and we needed to find a way to let them go outside a little bit because there's just not enough space in there for them. So here we have them leashed up and in some sort of an enclosure. I think this is like a canopy thing with like a clear like netting screen so they can still see, but they're like in this little enclosure. They look really scared. Today they are a lot more chill and they love going outside. So we started our journey in Michigan and then we came down through the US. We were aiming for like New Mexico and Arizona, and we went through Texas on our way there. And that's my first and only time that I've ever been to Texas. I remember actually seeing people walking around in cowboy hats. That's actually a real thing that goes on in Texas. So when we were in Albuquerque, New Mexico, we went on the Breaking Bad tour. By that I mean we just like looked up all of the places that were used as filming locations in Breaking Bad, and we went around and visited them, and that was so much fun. Breaking Bad, if you don't know, is like my very favorite show in the whole world. Jesse's house, Walt's house, Jesse and Jane's apartment, the car wash, the dog house. We went to Twister's, which is the restaurant they used for Los Pollos Hermanos. They even had like a little Los Pollos Hermanos sign on the wall that you could take pictures next to. And we got food at Twister's, low-key. I didn't really like it that much. Okay, Walt's house, as you can see here, is super fenced off. There's like signs everywhere that say no trespassing. There was one that said like take your picture from across the street and leave or something. And at one point someone came out of the house and like sat in one of those chairs there and kind of stared us down as we were parked across the street taking pictures. And yeah, I think the people that live there really hate that their house is famous. I mean, maybe like consider selling it. I figure you would probably get a lot of money for like a famous house, right? At the same time, I don't blame them. It's been so long since that show first aired, and when we went here there was actually another group of people taking pictures too, in front of Walt's house. So I assume it's like kind of never ending. Okay, this is in New Mexico. There were cows walking through our campsite. They would get pretty close to us. They're so cute. I love cows. This is actually like weirdly a common thing that I found. Like so many places I've camped have had cows just like walking around. This is the same campsite. You can kind of see it in the distance there. We just went on a walk one day and we were kind of just walking through the desert and climbing a bunch of crazy rocks in the area. This wasn't like an official hike or anything. I didn't bring any water. I didn't like plan anything. I think I was wearing sandals or flip-flops or something because it was really hot that day. And I was just like walking around and vibing, and we ended up climbing this really tall rock. And okay, I had my first experience with, I don't want to spoil it. So I was just like climbing around this area, jumping from rock to rock, admiring the view, doing whatever. And all of a sudden I hear this like it sounded kind of like an engine, like as if the rock below me turned on, if it was like a car or something. For a split second I was just so confused. I was like, engine vibrating, rattling. It was a rattlesnake, and I bolted so fast. I sprinted down the rocks in my flip-flops or whatever. Yeah, it was a rattlesnake. If you don't know, rattlesnakes rattle at you when they are like very angry. They're like about to attack you. So luckily I did not get bitten, but that was my first experience with a rattlesnake. And since then I've had like, I don't know, 3 or 4 other experiences, both in New Mexico and Arizona. That's the thing I hate the most about the desert. I really don't like those rattlesnakes. And I love snakes. Like most snakes I love. I think they're so cute, and I can't stand rattlesnakes. They're so terrifying to me for some reason. So this was a picture I used for a thumbnail on this channel. It might have been my first RV tour that I did, back in the old RV. Look how happy I look. I'm smiling. I'm doing the peace signs. Look how happy I look. I was crying in this picture. I remember that. I don't remember what I was crying about. It might have just been like a tough day, probably something like just like van related, some like issue. And I remember I took a bunch of pictures and I couldn't get it right, and I was just getting like very frustrated. And at a certain point I was like crying between takes, and I think this was the last one I got and I really liked it. But yeah, so don't trust every happy picture that you see on the internet. So this is Slide Rock State Park in northern Arizona. River, super clear, beautiful water with these red rocks all around it. And there are actually like rocks throughout the river that you can slide down like a natural water slide. This was one of the most crowded places I've ever been to. I got this picture in like the 2 seconds that nobody was walking in frame. Okay, on June 4th of 2021 is when this video was taken. I was gonna make a video for this channel. That was like almost 2 years ago, right? I was gonna make a video for this channel on getting back into skateboarding, because I hadn't really skated in like 3 years or something. I never finished the video. I went skating like maybe 2 or 3 times, and then I never skated again, and it's been another 2 years. It's really something that I would still love to get back into, but with this life, it's just like almost impossible. Like every road within like miles of me right now is a dirt road. There's just like nowhere to skate. This is how the sky looked one day in Flagstaff, Arizona. The sun was like red and orange, and the whole sky was beautiful in the middle of the day, which looked quite cool but was actually super cursed. It was due to fires, and we ended up having to evacuate. They closed all parks and camping places, so there was nowhere to camp. The night before we evacuated, we stayed the night, I wouldn't say like on the side of the freeway, but practically the freeway was here, then there was like a fence and then like a really small road, and we parked like on the edge of that road next to a bunch of other vans and RVs and campers who were also like kicked out of their camping spot and probably had nowhere to go. And that was not a fun night. I don't think I slept much. The freeway was extremely loud. We couldn't open the windows because of the noise, and it was hot in there. It was a bad situation. This is one of my favorite places that I've ever been to. It's La Plata Canyon in Colorado. Again, we had a situation where cows walked right through our campsite. In general, this place is so beautiful. It was always like slightly, not raining, but it felt like it was always trickling there, and the air just felt like so moist. There was waterfalls, there were like super brightly colored mushrooms and flowers. It was like walking through a storybook. I seriously love that place. Okay, this is in Utah. We stayed in a place that was like so incredibly flat. Like there was nothing around, no trees, no bushes, no other campers, like just desert as far as the eye could see in like every direction. And we decided that this would be a safe place to let the cats like run around off their leashes. This is where I got some of my favorite pictures ever of my cat Buddy. And this is a super weird gas station in the middle of nowhere. It had like weird alien imagery, this like weird dollar store Lightning McQueen thing. This was in Nevada. We saw a wild donkey. Donkeys are insane. If you've never heard what a donkey sounds like, you should look it up. It's just like the most insane sound. Throughout Nevada, there's like a lot of wild like donkeys and horses and stuff like that. It's really interesting. So this is a ghost town in the Colorado mountains. Really cool place, just like such cool vibes. I think we went there on Halloween. Pretty spooky. I'm afraid that these pictures don't even properly show how cool and interesting this place was. This was somewhere in New Mexico. The hike slash crazy walk we went on to get here was like so much climbing over rocks, climbing through rocks, just like this playground of like rocks.